Back in the day, when you got inside a budget crossover, you'd be constantly reminded that you scraped the bottom of the barrel. You got bare features, cheap plastics, and almost no noise insulation. Thanks to the influx of competition from China, the standards for budget crossovers have been raised. Case in point, the Kia Sonet. It starts at 700,000 pesos and goes all the way up to 1.16 million for the top spec variant. It's not quite as bare as budget crossovers of the past, but it's also up against some pretty tough competition, which are also not very bare. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. So we've done a walk around of the Kia Sonet before. If you haven't seen the video, we'll do a quick refresher. But this time we'll compare it to the most popular Japanese and Chinese crossovers in the market. And that would be the Toyota Raize and the GAC Emzoom. So like the Toyota Raize and the GAC Emzoom, the Kia Sonet is a subcompact crossover. It's a bit bigger than the Toyota Raize, but smaller than the GAC Emzoom. This sells for a bit more than the Toyota Raize, but it also gets a few more features. In terms of styling, I would say it's in between the Toyota Raize and the GAC Emzoom in terms of how aggressive it looks. You get this rugged looking front fascia over here, which looks similar to the Kia Sorento. It gets a protruding, strong jawline over here. You have this faux skid plate down here. You have these hook-shaped LED headlamps. Both the Toyota Raize and the GAC Emzoom also come with LED headlamps. You got this gloss black grille with silver accents. And you have Kia's new logo on the top of the hood. The Kia Sonet EX gets two-tone 16-inch alloys wrapped in 205/55 series tires. You also get disc brakes on all four corners. Now for comparison, the GAC Emzoom gets 19-inch wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport tires. This gets power folding side mirrors with repeaters. You got roof rails up here, you got the smart locking system. This top-of-the-line Sonet has a two-tone finish. The roof and the pillars are finished in gloss black. So under the hood is a 1.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine. That's one more cylinder than the Toyota Raize. So this puts out 113 horsepower and 144 Newton meters of torque. It's coupled to a CVT transmission, which Kia calls IVT. So in terms of power, it's in between the Toyota Raize and the GAC Emzoom, although it's much closer to the Toyota Raize. The GAC Emzoom has a turbocharger, which significantly improves the power output. This engine, though, is a lot smoother than the engine of the Toyota Raize, as it's a 4-cylinder and it's better balanced than the 3-cylinder of the Toyota Raize. Now, as for the suspension, the Kia Sonet, as well as the Raize and the Emzoom, all have torsion beam suspensions at the back and McPherson's at the front. Back here, you get an LED light bar, rear parking sensors, a rear camera, a rear spoiler, and you also get a manual liftgate. Based on the official cargo space volume, the Kia Sonet actually has the biggest cargo space of the three cars that we're comparing here, which is surprising given how much bigger the Emzoom is. All of these crossovers, though, have more than enough space to fit our sponsor for today. Introducing the Atto Sport Mobility Scooter, the world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into two parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock absorbing flat free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system. Be free to travel anywhere, land, sea or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. Atto Sport, moving life. Now I think this interior definitely looks better than the interior of the Toyota Raize. The materials feel better. The plastics do not feel as cheap. You get more leather here, although I believe it's synthetic leather. The seats are covered in leather. They're both manually adjustable. I think the brown and black color scheme gives it a more upmarket look. These are also covered in leather over here. Your armrests, this one is leather wrapped. This one is, I wouldn't call it soft. It's not hard plastic either. There's a bit of it has a rubbery coating on it. Although that coating feels pretty thin. Your steering wheel is leather wrapped. You have a sprinkling of piano black accents here and silver accents. You have this shroud over here around the infotainment screen and the instrument cluster. We've seen this on the Stargazer in gray, and that was not a very good look. Well, thankfully, this one is finished in gloss black, and this looks miles better. It blends with the screen, so it doesn't look like you have huge bezels around the screen. You have these huge plastic air vents over here. They kind of look like gaping nostrils. I don't think it's a particularly attractive design, but it looks better than the interior of the Toyota Raize. Not quite as nice as the interior of the GAC Emzoom though. So you get this 10-inch infotainment screen. This has wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. You also have a reverse camera with active guidelines. You have a digital instrument cluster. You have a wireless phone charger down here. You have two USB ports, one USB-A and one USB-C. You also have a 12-volt outlet over here. You don't get an electronic parking brake. Instead, you get this manual handbrake, which I don't mind. But keep in mind that you will not get the auto hold function of the GAC Emzoom. Single zone climate control, and thankfully we got physical buttons over here. You also got a physical dedicated button for turning on your rear camera. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. You don't get paddle shifters. It looks and feels nice. The leather feels soft. You also have plenty of buttons here. Now the Kia Sonet comes with basic ADAS features, like it has lane keeping assist, which automatically steers the car by following the lines on the road. You also have forward collision warning and rear cross traffic alert. You don't get adaptive cruise control, but you do get standard cruise control here. In terms of storage, the glove box is decently sized. It's not dampened. Storage space is very minimal underneath the center armrest. You have ample storage over here. You have two cup holders over here. And this one also comes with a sunroof, although it's not panoramic like on the GAC Emzoom. It's only for the front passengers. Okay, space back here is just okay for a person of my size. I have about 4 inches of knee room. Headroom is about 3.5 inches. I have plenty of room here on the side of my head. As far as toys go, you have a foldable armrest here with two cup holders, two air vents over there, two USB-C ports, a bit of storage over here. You also have map pockets on both front seats. Despite its affordable price, the Sonet has some decent ADAS features, such as forward collision warning, autonomous braking, and lane keeping assist, which the Toyota Raize Turbo lacks. Lane keeping assist steers the car by following the lines on the road. It's good enough for straight roads and those with slight bends, but it tends to let go easily when the curve gets a bit tighter. It doesn't seem to be as accurate as the lane keeping assist of the GAC Emzoom. Speaking of the GAC Emzoom, the Emzoom has a more comprehensive package of ADAS features, which includes adaptive cruise control. The Sonet has cruise control, but it's not adaptive, meaning that if you set it at a certain speed, like 80 kph, it will remain at that speed no matter what happens. So if the car in front of you slows down, you have to step on the brakes. Adaptive cruise control, on the other hand, will adapt its speed depending on the speed of the car in front of you, so you don't have to step on the brakes if the vehicle in front of you slows down. The Kia Sonet is a pretty fun little car to drive. It doesn't have as much power as the GAC Emzoom, and it's not going to feel as exciting, especially on straight roads, but the steering feels quite sharp. The steering ratio is quick and there is no dead zone at the center. The short wheelbase also makes it feel very nimble. Now it doesn't have as much power as the GAC Emzoom, but the CVT transmission or the IVT transmission of the Kia Sonet doesn't feel as jerky in stop and go traffic. It feels quite nimble, it feels peppy, and if you don't really intend on going faster than 80 kph, it is pretty adequate. I mean, it can go faster than 80 kph of course, but it will take a bit longer to get to 100 than the GAC Emzoom. In terms of NVH, it is better than the Toyota Raize. You don't feel as much engine vibration, especially at idle, but it's still a budget crossover. If you're used to driving more expensive, more premium cars, you would sometimes think that you have an open window because a lot of outside noise gets inside the cabin. I can very much hear those motorcycles whizzing past me. Overall, it's a pretty okay car to drive. I just have one complaint about it. I just have one major annoyance with the car, and it has to do with the car's air conditioning system. So as you can see right now, we have recirculation mode on, so it will recycle the air inside the cabin, but it only stays on for about 3 minutes. As you can see, it turned off already, and that can be a problem if you're stuck in traffic behind a diesel truck, as the fumes can get inside the cabin. It also tends to get a lot warmer inside the cabin when your circulation is off, and it will not automatically turn on again. You have to manually press the button to turn on recirculation again. I've only had the car for a couple of days. If I get to keep this car in the long term, that button right there is going to get worn down very quickly because it will be the most used button inside the car. And I've checked in the settings, there doesn't seem to be any way to keep the recirculate button on for longer. I've tried turning this on and turning this off, and it doesn't make a difference. It just always turns off after 3 minutes. Now, to be fair to Kia, I did try to get to the bottom of this. I've tried asking other members of the media who drove the car to Tagaytay during our media drive, and they didn't seem to notice anything. But also, you're less likely to notice it if you're outside the city, as you don't smell the pollution as much. I tried asking a Kia representative, and they said that it could happen if the temperature is set very low. I had the temperature set from 19 to 22 degrees during my time in the car, which I believe was not that low. I tried Googling solutions. Apparently, on other Kia models, this could happen if the sunroof is slightly open, which I believe wasn't the case on my car. I never opened the sunroof, and if it was slightly ajar, rainwater would have leaked in the cabin, as it rained quite a few times during my time with the car. Anyway, I'm not sure if this issue is specific to my unit. My suggestion is to test it out during a test drive. You should notice it within 3 minutes. The mid-spec EX variant has manual air conditioning and should not have this problem. In terms of refinement, the Sonet isn't between the Raize and the Emzoom. Noise insulation in the Sonet is not amazing, but it's still better than the noise insulation in the Raize. Also, the 4-cylinder of the Sonet is a lot smoother than the 3-cylinder of the Raize, especially at idle. The Sonet feels like a more expensive car than the Raize because of its better NVH. The Emzoom though is on another level. It has better noise insulation than both the Sonet and the Raize, although the Sonet does ride a bit better than the Emzoom, probably because of the Emzoom's 19-inch wheels. The Emzoom is a more exciting car to drive if you enjoy driving at higher speeds in the twisties or on the highway. The power difference between the Emzoom and the other two cars is more than substantial, as the Emzoom has almost twice the power of the Raize. The variable exhaust of the Emzoom also adds a lot of necessary drama to the driving experience. But for those who are not into the boy racer lifestyle, the Sonet has a lot of advantages over the Emzoom. Its IVT transmission feels less jerky in stop-and-go traffic than the DCT of the Emzoom. Its smaller size makes it more maneuverable and easier to park, and it's significantly more fuel efficient than the Emzoom. I was able to get 20.8 kpl on the highway and about 12.6 kpl in the city. The top spec Kia Sonet SX sells for 1,178,000 pesos. That's 160,000 more than the mid-spec Kia Sonet SX, and for that price difference, you get leather seats, you get a leather-wrapped steering wheel, height adjustment for the driver's seat, ADAS, wireless charging, a bigger 10.25-inch screen, a sunroof, and automatic climate control. That's quite a lot of additional features for just an additional 160K. Although I wouldn't consider the automatic climate control of the SX to be an upgrade. So overall, how does the Kia Sonet compare to the Toyota Raize and the GAC Emzoom? Now, the GAC Emzoom was my best budget crossover of 2023, and deservedly so. Since it's a newer Chinese brand, you would expect it to punch above its weight. And it does. It has a lot more power, a lot more features, it is more spacious, and it feels like a much more expensive car overall. However, not everyone's going to be ready to get a Chinese vehicle. And for those who would still rather go for a mainstream brand, I think the Kia Sonet is one of your top choices. It's just the aircon recirculation issue that's my main gripe with it, but if you can look past that, it is a much better car than the Raize in almost every way.